tumbok.
I saw a lot of talents. The pieces as presented is extremely creative. I love every bit of it. So yes, loving every part of the show.
I think the event is really successful. I can see everyone really enjoying the entire show, and when every collection came out, it was just fantastic.
It's very impressive, and to see it all come together, it's very well done to the school and the students.
The quality gets better and better every time I come, and this year is no exception. I think the work overall is of a really, really high standard. I'm very, very impressed.
We love the work, strong narrative, beautiful storytelling, great fashion show, fantastic models. So what we did today was we streamed directly from here into Coventry. In Coventry today we have a away day, so all school is together, all staff is kind of on a planning day, and they were watching real time what was happening here. Fantastic.
It's really safe to say that Raffles produces some of the best designers around. Clearly, they nurture talent, they bring out the best in their students, they provide the right environment by which to create these fantastic designs. So, anybody who's interested in Raffles, this is the place to be.
I was super excited with the show, and the collection as well. I was blown away with some of the pieces, their creativity, the choice of colors, even how they thought about it conceptually. That was really exciting.
Today's been a fantastic event. We've really enjoyed ourselves. Raffles always puts on a really impressive degree show and fashion show. We've seen some excellent work from all of the different courses and all of the students involved in those courses. And I think all three of us are very happy with the work we've seen today, very impressed with what we've seen today. And we're leaving here feeling quite jealous of the work that the Raffles students have produced. So well done.
I think if you're the type of person that knows deep in your gut that you have the talent, but you just need the guidance and you need that extra little bit of oomph, somebody to support you and to show you that you have what it takes and you have the ideas, you need to go to Raffles. There's no other place.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back, and welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that few minutes of the video presentation by Raffles. And again, thank you for joining us. I'm Jeffrey, by the way. I know we have not met for the last 1 month. We took a break, and now we are back. Okay, we are back for more. So stay tuned every week. Remember to like our Facebook. Remember to just share this series out to your friends, because we are going to bring you even more programs like this. Okay, how are you all? Okay, we have not met for a month. I hope that you're still doing good. I know that most of you here have gone back to school. Congratulations, for going back to school and continue to study hard. And like I mentioned again, week after week, when we were on show, we have this series what we call Turning Point. Turning Point is a program that is designed in a way to help you, to give you various career pathways, and also an institution that we will be promoting to you to introduce you today in the afternoon. Okay, and join us in Turning Point as we bring to you even more different career paths, various institutions in Malaysia, and also to help you to let you give you a better understanding, okay, on your opportunities that you have after your secondary school. Okay, now where you are right now, basically we are showing this live. Okay, I hope that you're watching this through the Study Hub Facebook. We have Study Hub Facebook in our 3 offices. If you do not know, we have recently opened up our new office in Mentaka Pahang. Okay, so if you're joining us from Mentaka Pahang, welcome. You know, remember to like the Facebook of Study Hub Student Advisory Mentaka. Okay, we have an office in Jenjarum. Okay, don't forget Jenjarum covers Banting as well. So if you are watching us through that Jenjarum Facebook, thank you for joining us. And if you're from Klang, hey, hello, 你们大家好，很久没见了哈。Okay, so remember to like our Facebook in Klang as well. And those who are joining us from Seremban, you must be joining us from the JS Study Solutions Facebook. Correct? Now, as the show is ongoing, it's approximately about an hour plus. Okay, if you have any questions, 如果你们有什么问题要问的 if you have any questions you want to ask, please do free to ask. Feel free to put in the comment box. We would love to answer those questions. Raffles is together with us this afternoon, and they'll be also able to answer some of the questions that related to what we are going to talk about today. Fashion designing. Okay, so if you have your questions, please feel free to ask us time to time. We will get to you those questions. Okay, good. Now I hope that you are ready, as we are going to introduce you today our section. This afternoon we are bringing to you a program where a lot of students have been asking us design, and particularly we're talking about fashion design. Fantastic. Okay, it is one of the most asked questions in the School of Design. Many students come and ask us, the career of fashion design, where can they work? What will be the future of fashion design? How will it impact you? What do you need to do to study? What kind of mind do you need to have? What subjects you must be good? These are the questions that students have been asking us every other time, and we have thought of bringing it to you, and also not only just to bring you a career in fashion design, we brought to you one of the leading schools in fashion design. Okay, and together we have with us today our guest speaker. We have 2 of them, but I'll introduce to you the first one. Why don't we get him up on the studio room?
Hi, Jeffrey.
Hello, Douglas. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for having me today.
No worries. Douglas is the program director of Raffles College of Higher Education, Kuala Lumpur. Okay, he will be here. He's a man to talk to you about fashion design. He's a program head, program director. Who else will be more clearer than him? So I will just ask Douglas, if you can, Douglas, why don't you also introduce yourself to them? Thank you for joining us, Douglas. Appreciate your time. And why don't you introduce yourself?
No problem. Basically, I'm actually born in Kuala Lumpur. Right up until I was 20, I did my at that time was MCE. It was not SPM yet. Okay, this is how old I am.
Wow.
So this is like way back in the 70s. So I actually worked a couple of years just to get my feet into fashion, get my feet wet, as they put it, because at that time there wasn't really any schools or colleges that was related to fashion. At that time in the 70s and 80s, no one thought fashion was a viable career. In fact, I was actually told to be, you'll never make a living drawing pretty pictures, etc., etc. But luckily I've proven them wrong, because I've actually, after getting my fashion degree in London, I was actually from a college called Harrow, which is still existing. But a lot of the colleges in London now have actually merged together, so the names are all different now. But I got my degree there, and after that I worked basically all over Europe. My first job was in Germany, in Munich. It didn't last long because I'm a foodie, so the food was horrible. I left after a year. I mean, to be frank, Germany is only like Frankfurters, Wieners, Schnitzel, so it was not my kind of food. So after that, I actually had a very good representation. When you graduate, especially like when you have your exhibition and fashion shows, a lot of people in industry actually come, and I was really wrote about, because at that time I produced a collection. This is in the 80s. The collection in the 80s was all big shoulders and really power dressing. I went the other route. I went I said, okay, the future of fashion is not just big shoulders, that is present. So I think also to be a fashion designer, you have to be kind of a visionaire. You have to see 5 years from now, 10 years from now, that is how a fashion designer should work, because you have to predict, you have to be intuitive about trends. So I did a collection which was completely fluid, in jersey, in draped and all that. So I got a lot of press and I got a lot of offers in London. But after studying almost 5 years in London, I said, I had enough. I want to, my goals at the time was to work in all the fashion capitals of the world, like, Paris, London, Italy, New York, Japan, I'm happy to say I've worked in 3 of them, except for Japan and London. I worked in, but it was a lot more as a student. But the only capital I've not worked in was in Tokyo. But I have traveled and worked in conjunction with companies I've been with. So I basically, after Milan, I worked in. After Germany, I worked in Milan. It was actually to learn about, also for my own growth, I want to learn about knits. So the best place to learn about it was Italy, because they have all the best knits, cashmere, all that. And then in college, you don't really learn in depth about, knitting and knitwear. So I basically told myself, after my college, I still want to continue learning. So after Italy, I went and started knocking on doors in Paris. At that time, couldn't speak a single word of French, but one of my course mates was actually working at Christian Dior. So I said, hey, let me sleep over at your place. Let me bunk with you. Let me try my luck. And lucky enough, with my portfolio, because I'm pretty strong in illustration, so my illustration helped me get a lot of jobs. At first, it's freelance, but then after that, it got me like full time. So I worked in Milan for about 3 years, but it was all more or less freelance jobs. Got me a lot of money, but it didn't give me stability. So I wanted to get stability. So then I said, okay, no, this is serious. I want to be based in Paris. I want to learn about haute couture, which is the only place to learn about, high fashion and all that. It's the only country that endorses, handmade, beautifully made garments that are made to last. So I then decided I want to live there. And luckily, I actually lived there for almost 10 years. Worked with a lot of different couture houses. And I think I can still say that I'm one of the few Malaysian who has actually worked in haute couture in Paris. I don't think a lot of designers have. So after Italy, after France, I managed to win some competitions, got my own label started, but I think I was still not too ready to launch my own label. So after 3 years, my own label went kaput. Then I started working as a consultant, and I moved to New York. To New York and worked for Vera Wang as a consultant, at first for their wedding gowns, and then after that for the evening wear. And then after that, I came back to Malaysia, hoping that at that time, this was in the 90s, hoping that the fashion business was starting. But after working in Italy, after working in Paris, after working in New York, Malaysia was very slow. So I then started actually working with Raffles at that time. This was in the 90s. I was program director for Raffles for about 4 years. And after that, they sent me to Shanghai to actually help write the degree course there. Then in Shanghai, I got poached by a few companies, of which, one was a fashion company, worked with them for 7 years. After that, I was poached by the Walt Disney Company. And at Walt Disney Company, I actually had to be more of like a corporate kind of a manager, director. So I was actually the regional creative director for Greater China, in charge of Hong Kong, China, and Taipei. That I learned way more about fashion in terms of, licensing, franchising, all that. That when you're in a fashion design school, they never teach you. So this is all about, more about mentorship and more about, working with clients, giving clients support, etc. So after working with Disney, of course, then I started working with Li & Fung, which is the world's biggest manufacturer. They manufacture almost everything for America, for Walmart to Target, everything. Work with them in terms of their production. So worked as a senior vice president for them as the more consumer-based products. After that, also worked as a consultant for Universal Studios. And then got headhunted again by a really big Shanghainese company, kind of like the Chinese Walt Disney. They have a lot of animation, they have a lot of entertainment. So I worked with them for about 4 years. And then now I came back to Malaysia, I think about 2 years ago, in 2018.
All right.
Kind of like semi-retired, but then so kind of retired, but then, I was approached by Raffles to come in, help out with, giving back to basically the whole fashion scene. So here I am again in one big circle, coming back into my
where
old
you started.
position as the program director for Raffles.
Wow,
Yeah.
that was.
So I
but
think,
yeah, the way
Yeah,
you
sorry.
mentioned it, I think the way people that you started even going to fashion industry since like 1980s.
Yes.
Um, at the time, I remember, I was still like this 4 5 year old, but at the time, I remember that.
Yeah, thanks for making
people-
me so old.
Yeah, no, but it doesn't even look that way. I didn't imagine it was 1980. It was probably like year 2000 or whatever. But it's a long journey, and you have amazing. It has been amazing,
Yeah,
but
it's
at the
been
time, people
35 years of an amazing fashion career. Let's put it that way.
awesome, very awesome.
And
But
I
what
think
do
a
you-
lot of parents don't realize, but actually fashion
yeah,
is a career. It's not just about drawing pretty pictures. Yes,
right.
in the beginning, it's all about illustrating, it's about designing, but as it gets along, when you become from a fashion designer, let's put it that way, you graduate, you become assistant designer, then you become maybe head designer, and then maybe creative director, and then as it goes along, your career builds up. As you know, in all careers, everything starts from one point that leads to something much more. And I think in today's situation, I mean, even with COVID-19 and everything, the career limitations are enormous. The opportunities provided now, it's not just like you learn about fashion design or any creative design course. It's not just about you as a designer. It's you that you can become, so many things in social media. Is a global phenomenon. And I will talk about that a little bit more, because also the whole global phenomenon in fashion also is causing a lot of pollution, as wastage. What is fast fashion, which I also kind of call disposable fashion. That you're buying a T-shirt for 10 ringgit or 10 ringgit, 5 ringgit even, that you don't care, that you wear it for like 1 month, you throw it away, but that causes a lot of problems.
Environmental
But
issues.
it's just like I think a lot of people need to realize, especially parents, they need to realize it's not just about drawing pretty pictures. It's also how a person be able to move out of just drawing something, but also to analyze, okay, what does my current market needs are. A good fashion designer would be 50% creative and 50% a thinking, analytical, commercial mind.
Right.
You need to have a balance of both. Yeah.
More of the creative side, so they must have some logical.
Yeah. Because if you're just creative, you're just designing things you want, but maybe the person in the store won't want it. You must be able. I kind of always emphasize in every country I work with the designers I work with. I've always said, you know what, you need to know. You don't care what's happening in Paris, what's happening in New York, what's happening in Milan. That's Milan. That's New York. That's Paris. In Malaysia, we have in Malaysia, or even in Asia, we have a totally different kind of culture. We have totally different needs. We have totally different kind of even superstition comes into it. Like certain colors, like Chinese New Year, nobody wants to wear black, for example. So it comes to a local phenomenon that you need to realize, and also to realize also, like, being in Asia, it's a temperate country. We have summer all year round. You don't have spring, you don't have autumn, you don't have winter. So what do you design? You can't have winter wear in Malaysia. People will laugh at you. So I always tell people, like, if you want to be a successful designer, sell to who you know, sell to your customer base, be it Indonesian, be it Filipino, be it Thailand, be it Singapore, be it Malaysia. It's a different market. So a good designer would, need to be 50-50. Let's put it 50% creative, 40% commercial, and 10% lucky.
Okay.
Because if you're not lucky, you start a business right now. If you're starting a new business, in amidst COVID-19, wrong choice. So it's also like, how fate deals you a card. I think this whole COVID-19 also has actually given also new opportunities to a lot of designers. Like a lot of stores, maybe it's too expensive for designers to actually operate a brick and mortar store. So they've actually gone into social media. There's a lot of my fresh graduating groups of students. Some of them are actually doing very clever. They're actually selling masks, very fashionable face masks. Because today it's mandatory. You have to wear masks. So
That's right.
some of them are actually doing masks to match the clothes.
Correct. Oh yeah, I
So
saw that
it's a new opportunity. So good for them for that, So I think it's intelligence that needs to also be coming into the whole creative side.
Very true.
Yeah.
Okay.
So go ahead.
You want to show us something, right? In terms of the
I was actually gonna talk about fashion. What I think is important in fashion, and also how a student needs to actually get into the whole fashion design career and all that. So let me just start. Okay, I would just want to talk about fashion in general. What is fashion design? What is a fashion designer? What the opportunities are, and also I will list down also a few. Actually quite a lot, the kind of opportunities that open to fashion design.
I think that is very good, because that is definitely because the students have got a very different mindset when you talk about design. They only, like what you mentioned, was very true. It's not just creative; it's analytical. A lot of students they just think that they need to be creative, they need to love clothing.
You need to be creative as well. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. You need to be creative. And for me, the most important, you need to be passionate. Fashion, to me, everyone sees the pretty fashion show that goes on for 15-20 minutes, but that's actually like months in preparation. There's maybe 4 months, 6 months in preparation of that, for 20 minutes of glamour. So they don't see the blood, sweat, and tears. They don't see the no sleeping. They don't see you stabbing your fingers with pins and bleeding. It's actually when you actually working as a when we have fashion shows in New York and Paris, you actually don't sleep for 1 week. Models coming at 2 o'clock in the morning to do fittings, So all this is actually part of the glamour, but is also part of the hard work, So let me just share my screen.
Okay.
It's actually a keynote presentation. So at any time, if any questions, let me know.
Yep.
Okay, here we go. So a lot of people just always ask me fashion, what is it? Is it just doing pretty pictures? Is it just buying from China, etc.? But the whole process about fashion is actually from concept, drawing, research, fabric, color, into what you see in the stores. So what exactly is a fashion designer's fashion? What exactly is fashion? What exactly is fashion designer? For me, the most important thing to actually tell everybody, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. It spins off from fashion. Fashion becomes also accessories. Accessories like for even down to your iPhone case and everything. That's fashion. That's accessory. So in terms of this, what is basically fashion design? Fashion design, to me, a lot of people would say, hey, I just do it myself. I'm self-trained and all that. But if you're self-trained, you don't kind of understand, what goes into going to deep dive research, knowing what the next trends are. But like I said, knowing what the next trends are for your current market. For your current market, even if you are working in Malaysia, you can actually be selling something that is global, because people will see maybe what is inside social media or in your web page and all that. So it's actually not just even though you may be operating from Ipoh or Perak or Malacca or Penang, people will actually see your stuff if you get enough viewers and things like that. So the opportunities in fashion, like I said before, in the past, you'll come out, you work as a junior designer, but then there are like the bigger operators. Like for example, in Malaysia, you have big players. You have, I'm sure everybody's gone to the malls. You've seen, the Padini concept stores, the Voix, the designer outlets. The local designers like even Kit Chen and all that. These are all local-based designers, but who have many stores. For example, Padini stores, they have close to 300 over stores in Malaysia alone. Not to mention, they have in they have in Saudi Arabia, they have Emirates and all that. They have stores. Even the Vinci shops and all that for their shoes. They have it all over the world, So it's not just like, you're designing just for the Malaysian market. So then you actually have the opportunity to become like a studio supervisor. Studio supervisor, basically you manage the designers, what they're doing. You catch up with all the designers. You make sure that the work is done, Okay, CAD specialist, for example. CAD means computer-aided design specialist.
Yep.
Computer-aided design is basically what is our code word for the design that we send to factories, that we send to the sample machinists. This is very important because this technical drawings are what is the language that you deal with. For example, if I'm in China, even if you can't speak Mandarin or you can't write Mandarin, they can read whatever information you feed into your computer-aided design together with your specification sheet, etc. So also like some who train with us, who train as fashion designers in the school, maybe they feel, hey, I'm actually better at the technical side of it. I'm good at sewing. I'm good at pattern making, translating the design into a pattern to make the clothes. So sample technicians are the ones who actually sew up the garment. And these people, like pattern makers and sample machinists and sample makers, actually make pretty much, good money as well. Sometimes even depending on the company you're with, they actually make more money than the junior designer. Merchandiser, for example, it could be anything from merchandising, what are in the store, what is coming in, what is going to go out, how you work with the designer to plan a collection, all the different things. So it's all like the front line and the back line of fashion design. Okay, like fashion stylists, for example, you see it in magazines, like especially in fashion magazines or fashion shoot, or even working with celebrities to style them, to make or TV shows, or even for TV commercials, or even film. I've worked in some fashion styling jobs that paid, just for one job. For example, I did a job with Tiger Beer, for example, that the budget was about 50,000 US.
Wow.
And this is in Malaysia. So, it's not little money for one job that lasts for, 1 week or 2 weeks.
Correct.
It's actually a lot of people actually work in the advertising business as fashion stylists, because they always need someone to provide the housewife clothes, the businessman clothes, they always give you a specific, the art director for the advertisement company will tell you what they need. You come back with a wardrobe, Of course, there's always like a budget given to you, etc. So a buying assistant, for example, is you see them in all the label stores, or even in local stores. Like they are the ones who assist in buying the collection from overseas or from a store. They need to know also like what is needed in the store, what the customer wants, etc. And the buying assistants usually work together with a brand manager. Brand manager usually knows the whole DNA, etc. of a brand. Example, for the background side again, fabric supervisor, the one who actually organizes the fabrics for each collection. Maybe for each new collection, the fabric supervisor will come up with a whole load of samples for the designers to see, for them to choose, and after that, getting the fabric length, the sample lengths, and then after that, ordering the fabric. Print designer, quite big in Malaysia, because like you have the batik industry, which also is very important, and also a print designer, not just they don't just work for fashion. It could be also working for bedding companies, like for your bed sheets, for your curtains, etc. So print designer is also a really viable job, but also the same thing, working in conjunction with what the fabric supervisors, etc. want. And of course, fashion writer, you see them in magazines, you see them in blogs and all that. So a lot of them now actually are more online, because like the hard copies of magazines now, people, especially recently, there were a lot of closing down with the COVID-19. A lot of our actually good magazines like have actually disappeared from newsagent shelves. So then, so it's kind of sad, because it's actually quite nice to actually hold something that you flip through, rather than see something that's in a PDF form that you've skipped through online. But you know what? It saves a lot of, paper. It saves a lot of trees. I'm very good for that. I'm very okay for that. So also, like, you see a lot of things faster. You get magazines like online, so you don't actually have to like, buy, which costs a lot of money. You subscribe, So creative director is like the creme de la creme. You've worked maybe 5 years, 10 years, and you get to the position that you are actually in charge of a brand, in charge of a fashion company, So CAD specialist, again, you are actually the one in charge of, doing all the technical. Tech pack manager is also the same thing. The tech pack is what you give to all the factories that, they need, from pattern drafting to making the sample, etc. Studio manager, the one who manages the studio to make sure all the designers are delivering the things on time. Drafting specialist, the ones who translate the drawing into from 2D to 3D, how clothes will be made, because it's all great if you can design something, but if you don't have someone who's doing the pattern drafting, the most beautiful clothes can't be made.
Yeah.
And then what's also very important, line planner, especially in Southeast Asia, when we have only summer, it's very important. You need to know exactly when you come up with a new collection. For example, in Malaysia, you have Chinese New Year, you have Hari Raya, you have Deepavali, and then nothing until Christmas. So what do? You can't suddenly say, hey, May, June, July, August, I come up with a summer collection. Hey, it's summer all year round. In September, hey, I want to come up with an autumn winter collection. Hey, with 37 degrees, what are you going to give me for autumn? So you must actually be able to plan something that will excite your customer base so that they want to come in to spend money. And the same thing like that, you basically plan every 6 weeks or 2 months something new in your store. So this one, you have to make the designers know that they have to come up with designs every 2 months to see to the needs of customers coming in. And then, of course, like for fashion designer, you need to be able to do trend forecasting, to be a fashion innovator. So jewelry designer is the same thing, what you combine with for the clothes accessories. Buying manager, like I said, you work with the buying assistant and the brand manager to know what to buy for the store. Accessory designer for bags, for shoes, like I said, even down to right now, COVID-19 masks, And then also a lot of designers who are actually good at event planning, know how to plan for a fashion show, how to plan for a launch of a collection. So all of these, compared to the 1980s or 1990s, are completely, new to the whole career path of a lot of fashion students and what's included in fashion, And also,
Douglas, sorry, Douglas,
go ahead.
I had to ask you, the PowerPoint is down. Can you share the screen again if you?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, sorry. It just came down. Yeah, I mean, but as you are doing this, it is interesting that how you put it, because fashion designer, I think fashion, a lot of people think that it is only involved in designing. But what you have given us a scope is not only just a matter of design. There are many various work that can be related to fashion. Like what you mentioned, of those things, the merchandiser, as a buyer, as a brand manager, things like that. It is good. It gives us all.
Yeah, because a lot of people don't realize that actually a lot of brands, like American brands, for example, even Gucci, even Hermes, even all these luxury brands, every country have their own country manager, their own country buyer.
Right.
Because your buyer will actually then say, hey, I've got summer 37 degrees all year round. I cannot be buying winter clothes, so I maybe need to buy more fashion related things, So basically, that's exactly how it is,
Interesting.
Okay, so let's
is
go
it
back
up, your PowerPoint?
I think so. Hold on.
Yep.
Okay, can you see?
Not yet.
Oh,
okay. Wait. Yeah, I think. Okay, it is not in full screen, is it? Wait,
no, not yet. Hold on, I'm just putting now. Okay, so basically, I just want to skip through this fast a bit. This is about sustainable fashion, which we also teach to our students, because we work in conjunction a lot with, for example, with Guess Jeans. When we do upcycling, Guess would provide the students, some of their unsold jeans or unsold garments, and we actually do projects with them to remake garments out of that. Because in terms of fast fashion, I basically think a lot of fast fashion is actually disposable fashion, because you buy something very cheap and then in the end, you don't really care and it'd be things you throw away. So
Right.
these are the big players in overseas, some international, and some local. Like H&M, they're 5,000 over stores.
Wow.
Forever 21, even though they're going out of business, they still have stores all over the world. Zara, another really big player in fast fashion.
That's right.
Uniqlo, also another one. Primark in London, they do the cheapest of clothes, all made in India, usually made in India. Even our own homegrown Padini, they have 350 stores and they produce basically a lot in China. So with all these brands, for example, H&M, they are making fast fashion fast becoming clothes that are so cheaply made that you don't really care that you throw it away. So a few facts here, like 80 billion pieces of clothing is made a year. That blows your mind. Okay.
Yeah.
In the whole global population, there's not even 80 billion people. Can you imagine this? This is the whole thing, like shoes. How much we throw away. All that. This is something that we kind of need to know. It's like these are like landfills that are all over the world, even in Malaysia. We actually work with some of these people who actually recycle fashion. So we actually work with students who give back to them that they recycle the fabric. So like in China, they actually contaminate 70% of our Southeast Asia rivers. So 2.5 billion of water is used to do the textile business, especially in denim. Denim is one of the biggest contributor to polluted waters and polluted waterways.
So.
Yeah. I mean, even in Malaysia, we see a lot of this, but ours is actually in Malaysia is more related to plastics. But the plastics as well, the same thing. It really is something that we are trying very hard to get the students to think about. So sustainable fashion, we are trying to do. So we work with students and work with like local industry, like with Batik Malaysia, things like that. That we do like natural colored dyes. Of course, the colors won't be so strong. So using natural color like snow, like the pea flower, which is the blue, using like saffron, using turmeric and all that to dye fabrics and all that. So this is actually one of the ways. The other way is it is also upcycling, but upcycling actually it's actually costing more because it actually costs a lot more to unravel a garment and then to make something new. So this is something that we need to work on. But there's also new things that are coming in, like vintage shopping. A lot of the millennials, for example, they actually are happy to buy second-hand clothes. But at the same time, there are also there are quite a few designers overseas that are actually doing upcycling clothes and actually being successful. So these are a few of the courses that, coming back to all the different design courses in Raffles. I'm in charge of the fashion design as well as the jewelry design. So these are the courses that I'm very passionate about and that I really love to work with students to further if they want to actually further their education
knowledge.
And all that. Yeah. No, because I think a lot of people don't realize that fashion is a career. It's lasted 35 years and still going on for me. But of course it's evolved. So it also depends on how, for me, how passionate the student is, how motivated the student is, and then even when you come out to work, how motivated you are. These are actually some of the graduating students' work. This is by Ian Lowe. He's done a men and women's collection, designing his own fabric.
Sorry, Douglas, to stop you again. We can't see the slide moving. It's still at the page where. Okay, maybe you don't do the full screen. You try to do
no problem.
Yeah. This is a work, right? Yeah. I don't know why.
So this one is actually work by Ian Lowe, one of our graduating students who supposed to have graduated in May. Unfortunately, now we are actually going to be doing an exhibition actually in the pavilion in mid-September for 2 weeks. So we will be showing all our 24 graduating students together with 2 jewelry students. So the work will be on display for 2 weeks at the pavilion. So you can see all of their works. Of course, it's not complete. We'll have one of the designs together with a QR code where they can scan to see all the photographs and everything.
Right.
This one, we have quite a big graduating group lah this time, 23 of them. So, we are hoping, once this is done, we can actually then, do the big, you usually have a big fashion show to end the finale of their 2-year course. So to all their hard work for, making and all these things. So we actually want to give them something back to, prove and show that their design. So this also is our jewelry design. The jewelry design, the same thing. It evolves a lot about, we make the students, give the students their work. We do photography together with maybe our other departments like the graphic design group and all that. So we actually do a lot of this together with our fashion marketing team. So the fashion marketing team will actually help put up the photo studio, help put up the photo shoot, etc., things like that. So some, like you say, it's like some of the alumni that we have, we have, for example, Shomir Iswagupta. He's actually one of my second batch of my students who now almost 20 years working. He's actually come onto his own brand. He's just started his menswear collection. He has a women's wear collection.
He's a Malaysian?
Yeah, he's Malaysian. He's actually a very successful designer. He has his own brand. He has his own accessory line. You can see his collection in Robinson's. They just gave him a counter there.
Okay.
So this one is Jonathan Liang, another one who is actually selling and working overseas as well. He sells his collection overseas. Katie Yi, local designer, same thing. Man Chen. Monica, she's from India, so she has a collection that she sells her own brand in India. Motogo, same thing. He has his own brand here. Alia Bataman in Indonesia, she does ready to wear. See, in Indonesia, they work together a lot with, for example, the batik designers and all that. Tengku Syami, he has his own women's wear line, kind of a modest fashion line. Tasha, she's also from Indonesia. She's now working as her own brand, doing bridal gowns. So basically, like I said, fashion design is a lot more to do with how I put it. It's not just for people who think that we are going to do fashion and that's it, nothing else. So I really think it needs to be clarified. Some with parents, for example, when they come to see the courses and how actually the course is actually very, very strenuous for the student. But you need to be. This is a tough industry. I mean, it's not like you're training for a medical degree or something. But fashion. We want to make sure when the student basically finishes the course, she's ready to work. She's ready for the fashion industry.
Yeah. But I think you are right, Douglas, when you say that I think it's like this. Everyone who wants to goes into a career will definitely have to have a passion in what they like. And I think fashion designers, the only thing is that probably a lot of parents, they always think fashion design, it's like they hold back a bit.
Yeah, well, it happened to me. I mean, I was put into the science stream. I did physics, I did chemistry, I did physics, and then take extra subjects, to make sure that I had art in my SPM, and then I actually went and did A levels. I was like, why I want to do A levels when I can actually be doing that? So I did 1 year of A levels. Okay, you know what? I need to do something else. So I had to convince my parents a lot at that time.
Cool.
But I think a lot of the younger set of parents, they also know. They've seen TV, they've seen Project Runway, they see all this, they know, oh my God, this is like multi-million dollars. And then they know, you've heard of Gucci for sure, you heard of Louis Vuitton, you heard of all these brands, and these brands are multi-billion dollar industry.
Exactly, and I like that word. It is only I think probably that thing like that. But that is in Europe, you're talking about Milan and New York and whatever not, but this is Malaysia. They always think that Malaysia has got no talent, no opportunity.
The thing with Malaysia is that there's actually a lot of manufacturers. There's a company called SCO, who is actually from Hong Kong. They have factories all over Malaysia, in Penang, in Shah Alam and all that. They are the biggest manufacturer for shirts and blouses. Okay, and they hire local.
Exactly.
It's because they need to have local creatives to support, because if you don't have local creatives, it's also hard.
Yeah.
And I always believe, like, you need to at least work in the industry for a few years before you start your own brand.
Correct.
You need to take risks with other people first before you start your own risk.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Douglas, let me just because of time, let me just go with you another few more questions. Just a quick one, yeah. So in school, let's say we talk about students now, Form 5, Form 4. What should they be good at in schools in order to do fashion? What subjects?
I think they need to be good in history. They need to be in geography.
History,
and also, history and geography. That's what you need to know, when the monsoon is coming in Malaysia. Know when the rainy season is coming. When the hot season is coming. History also, like, related to your own culture, related to culture overseas. Because when you are working in fashion, you need to do a lot of research. Fashion is a cycle. Okay, like I said, everything has been done. It's like the wheel. It's been invented. As a fashion designer, you redecorate the wheel. How you color the wheel, what you put in front of the wheel, what kind of rims, what kind of thread, That is the fashion designer recreating and making the wheel better looking, more aesthetic. And also at the same time, I think you need to be good at illustration, or be interested in drawing or sketching. That helps. Although in the course, we actually train from A to Z. We actually have initial course of figure drawing, and then we have fashion sketching, and then we have illustration, and then computer-aided design. So a lot of designers can't draw. They actually are good at the technical drawing. And in fact, when I hire a designer working for me, great. If I see fantastic illustration, I'm impressed. But I will look at how creative they are from their technical drawing. So it's like, okay, a jacket. What is the details? I look at details. As a fashion designer, you must be good at looking for small details, small proportion, like tiny change of a button size or the size of a pocket makes a lot of difference. If it's too big or too small, it looks strange. So your eye for detail and eye for proportion, very important. So it's kind of like most OCD. Like when I do fittings, my designers usually hate me because I can see, like, okay, there's a loose thread there, that one's not done, the button's wrong color, the thread, why like that? I will ask a lot of questions. And also, like, when you're doing fittings, you need to have the model try everything out, make sure they're comfortable, because at the end of the day, your customer needs to want to buy your outfit.
Cool. Yes, right.
You may be the most amazing designer, most beautiful thing, but if you can't sell, it's pointless. A good example, John Galliano.
Okay.
He's very famous. He's had his own collection in London for 10 years, went bankrupt every year until LVMH brought him in as a designer. But even when he brought him in as a designer, his clothes never sold. All his clothes were outrageous, great for the press. They get a lot of pictures in magazines and all that, but didn't sell. So in the end, they stopped him. He's no longer creative director. So in the end, once the press and press release and all that, the end of the day is what is commercial viability?
Practicality and variable.
Creativity and commerciality, the two.
Okay, commerciality, correct. Yes, so it looks good, but it also must be able to sell, and consumer would want to use it. Very nice, very nice. Douglas, thank you very much. But you mentioned just now that Raffles has got one of the leading programs. I agree to it. Very much. You have got diploma in fashion design, right? Where you need SPM, but of course we need SPM 3 credits and whatever. You have got the jewelry design, right?
Jewelry design, same thing.
That's a very niche program. That's a very niche program.
I think we are one of the few colleges that actually offer it. We actually have students. Actually, we for the next term in September, we actually have a student from France coming in to join us. So we actually have quite a varied international group of students. We have a lot of Indonesians, some from Thailand. We actually even have some Gabon and Africa and all that, coming in. So it's kind of fun, it creates for a interesting group. Like when you have a group project, you have different perspective, which is very good for the student.
Okay, good. Okay, Douglas, I have to just put you back at the bedroom. Thank you very much for sharing with us the overview of a fashion industry, fashion designing, and related career that relates to fashion. Not only need to be a designer, there can be any other
Yeah, yeah. Relating to fashion,
career.
there's actually a lot of opportunities. Yeah,
Correct. Even being a management, I was in
exactly.
fashion. I actually was at I was in fashion industry before I
Oh,
came to education, but I was more on the brand management side,
yeah, yeah.
not so much on the
Marketing and managing side. Yeah,
yeah. But it's still a very fun job because I like the fast moving,
yeah.
the season
And
change, and
stressful.
of course it's stressful, of course it's stressful. But I mean
Yeah,
everything is stressful, but if it enjoys it, then
yeah,
it's no
yeah.
problem. Yep.
No, like I said, I've been in the industry now for 35 years. I still find it very interesting. And
Yeah.
for me, it's a passion. It's a
That's
lifelong
right.
passion. Yeah.
Yeah. I appreciate your experience that you travel so much into the world since have seen so much. I think Raffles is definitely been blessed, because you're joining there and you're giving so much, to the students, and that will add a lot of confidence to our students, future students who will be coming into Raffles to the fashion
Yeah.
design program.
Hopefully.
Great.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah.
No worries,
Thanks for
Douglas.
having me.
Yeah,
Okay.
Douglas. Okay, I'll put you back room and I'll get someone up here, Mingle as well, to share us more about Raffles as a college overall,
Okay.
what they have to
Okay.
offer.
Thank you.
Thank you, Douglas. Okay, everyone, you have Mingle. Mingle,
Hi,
hi. Sorry to keep
hi,
you
Jeffrey.
waiting.
Yeah,
Thank you
yeah,
for
no
waiting. I
worries.
mean, yeah. Mingle is a good friend of mine. We have known each other for many
Yeah,
years now. Even before I came out and started JS study, we were working together in marketing, and
yeah,
she will be the best person to talk to you about Raffles College of Higher Education. She's
yeah,
based in
yeah.
Singapore, right? You're based in Singapore, right?
Okay, yes, yes, I am.
Okay. And you
Can you
want to
hear
share
me
with us,
right?
Mingle? Yeah, I can
Okay,
hear you well. Yeah.
yep, yep. Okay. Okay, so before I start my presentations, right, actually I would like to say thank you to Jeffrey, okay, especially like your team, okay, JS, as well as Study Hub, so that you guys for organizing these sessions for Raffles College. So we have these
Yeah.
sessions to meet the students here, okay. So I believe that like the audience here who actually heard from what doctors mentions and sharing, so you guys have a better understanding like what our fashion design students are doing in our Raffles College, and as well as like becoming a fashion designer is no longer just a dream for you guys. Okay, so I hope that you guys will find this fashion designer is a very interesting career for yourself. Okay,
Right.
so without further ado, okay, so let's get started. Okay,
Thank you. Go ahead.
yeah. So let me share my screen. Okay, so Jeffrey, can you see my screen right now?
I can see your screen right now. Yes. Raffles.
Yes. Okay. So first, okay, so let's begin with who is Raffles Educations. Okay. So Raffles Educations started our first design school in Singapore. So we have been grooming award-winning students ever since year 1990. And we are one of the largest private education group in Asia Pacific. And for our students, they have more choices and they can travel around Asia Pacific to complete their educations. And we also provided international educations, okay, with design, business, and psychology classes. And we do offer internationally recognized programs from diploma, degree to master qualifications. Okay, so let's look at this map. Okay, so Raffles Education has expanded to 19 colleges in 18 cities across 12 countries. So which are in Europe, Middle East, India, Indonesia, China, and Asia. So in Asia, we have two campuses in Malaysia, which are in Kuala Lumpur, and another one is in Johor Bahru. Okay. So our latest campus, which is we just launched in 3 years ago, which is in our Milan, Italy campus. Okay. So today I will just focus in Raffles Kuala Lumpur. Okay. So Raffles Kuala Lumpur has established since year 1994. And then our campus actually located at the heart of the KLCC, and it's just a 15 minutes walk from the campus to KLCC. And Raffles Kuala Lumpur is also part of Raffles Educations. Okay, so we are one of the most awarded colleges in Malaysia because we consistently produce award winners in various design disciplines. And our students' award-winning achievement are not only focused in local competitions, but as well as in international competitions as well. Okay, so our campus is equipped with like classrooms, seminar rooms, design studio workspace for fashion design and jewelry design, and drafting and materials room for interior design. Then computer labs, which is using both Mac as well as Windows computers, and then photography studio, library, and cafeteria. And now you look at this slide. This is a list of the program we have in Raffles Kuala Lumpur. So we do offer design courses and fashion courses, business courses, psychology course, and English course. And right now, Raffles Kuala Lumpur is collaborations with Coventry University in UK. So which means that our students, right, who graduated from bachelor degree, so they will be getting the degree certificate, which is awarded by awarded by Coventry University in UK. Okay, so just talk a little bit about Coventry University. Okay, yeah. So Coventry University UK was ranked at top 15 UK university since 2016. And then they also won the University of the Year for Students Experience in 2019. Okay, yeah. So let's move on to the intakes. Okay, so the intakes available in Raffles KL. If let's say the student are looking for certificate course or diploma levels, so we have 3 different intakes for students to choose. Okay, so which are January, May, and September. Or another group of students who are looking for bachelor degree program, we do have 3 intakes as well, which are January, May, and July.
Right.
Okay.
So which means that those who are going for degree will have to wait until January, but those who are coming in for certificate or diploma will have an intake coming next month, right?
Yes, correct. Okay. So okay. So I believe that the next one, okay, which is these admissions requirements.
Admission, yeah.
Yes, I'm sure that students, they are quite curious, like, what are the requirements which is needed, so in order to enroll into our college. Okay, so let's go through by levels. Okay, so if let's say like students who have minimum 1 credits, okay, from SPM, O level, IGCSE, or even UEC, okay, so they can they actually eligible to enroll into certificate in design course. But of course, for those who has more credits, okay, so for example, at least they have 3 credits and above, they can consider to enroll into a diploma program directly instead of like go through the certificate course in design. Okay, yeah. So for diploma program, so you look at this table. So minimum 3 credits in any subjects. So either from their SPM result, O levels, IGCSE, or even UEC. Okay, and then apart from that, like credit in SPM 111 English is also very important because all the courses will be conducted in English in our school. And then like for those who are taking design courses, they also required to sit for art tests as well. And just like yeah.
Sorry, Mingle. The art test, those who are going for design courses has to sit for an art test.
Yes,
can you
correct.
elaborate a bit more on that one?
Okay, for art test, right? Okay, basically, it's a very good test which is for our school to understand more how well is a student and what are the skills they have at the moment. Okay, but this art test, it will not affect the student enrollment. Okay, because for our diploma program, as Douglas mentioned just now, we will teach from A to Z. So basic skills we will cover under diploma level. As long as students, they fulfill the academic requirement, which is from their SPM, or they pass their, get credits in their English subjects, then no issue for them to enroll.
Okay, that'll be good.
Yeah, and so I will just continue. Yeah. Okay. So just now I mentioned like beside design program in Raffles Kuala Lumpur, we do provide business courses as well as applied psychology. So these two different specializations, which is the entry requirement, also the same as the design program. Okay, it's just like definitely business courses student, they don't need to sit for our test. Okay, but for applied psychology, we have additional requirement for students, which is they have to get passes in the mathematics and science subjects. Okay. And Raffles, we do provide English program also. So especially for those who are not able to get the credit in their SPM 319, and then we will arrange the English placement test for students to take. So if let's say students are able to pass the test, then they can be exempted from English. But if let's say no, the student can take up these foundations English program with Raffles Kuala Lumpur. Okay. Yeah, and just to add a little bit more, which is this English program, the student can study concurrently with their diploma program. Okay. So if let's say for those who are looking at bachelor degree program, okay, so which is a requirement is slightly different, which is more difficult compared to a diploma program. So for bachelor degree program, definitely it only applicable for those who already completed grade 12. Okay, so for example, like UEC students, STPM student, or A-level students, or any equivalent, the same qualifications lah. Okay, so we have we break into 3 important entry requirements for students to fulfill. The first one will be the academic requirement, which is you can see from here. Okay, and then like the second one will be the English qualifications. The student can use their SPM 319 English to apply, or else they can go and sit for IELTS exam, and the minimum score will be 6.0.
Right.
And the last one will be submissions of the design portfolio, and we will arrange an interview for the student with our program director. So if let's say students cannot fulfill one of the requirements which is stated here, then the student are not able to study bachelor degree program. But what we will advise the student, which is they can start from diploma program instead. Okay. Okay. So the next one is let me share with you this education pathway in Raffles Kuala Lumpur. Okay. If let's say like students who are taking SPM, IGCSE or O levels, after you completed your high school, okay, let's say like maybe during your high school you don't really like to study, so maybe you are not able to fulfill our academic requirement and also English requirement. No worries, like we will have this 1 year and 4 months certificate in design program for you to study. And then we do have an English program for you to study as well. So of course, after you complete this 1 year and 4 months certificate in design, you may progress to diploma program for 2 years and 4 months.
Right.
Yeah. So after the diploma, the student can choose to do their top-up bachelor degree in Raffles Kuala Lumpur as well. So it will take another 2 more years or 2.5, it depending on what program the student study.
Okay.
Okay. And another example, like let's say like, okay, same thing, the student already completed their high school from SPM, IGCSE, okay, and then they fulfill both academic requirement as well as English requirement, then definitely the student can split from this certificate course as well as can be exempted from English. Okay, so they will go to diploma directly after their SPM year, okay, so 2 years and 4 months program, then they can do the top-up degree in Kuala Lumpur, or else they can consider to go to overseas. As long as it's within the Raffles network, they also may consider to inter-school transfer.
Right.
Okay. And the last example, which is those who completed grade 12, which is UEC student, STPM student, or A-level students. Okay, so let's say you fulfill the 3 important requirement I mentioned just now, then definitely you're able to enroll into the first year bachelor degree directly, and it will take you 3 years or 3.5 years, depending on your program you've chosen. Okay. Okay. So when it comes to accommodation part, okay, just to share with you is like Raffles Kuala Lumpur is a city campus, so we do not have our own accommodations facility which is inside our campus. Okay, but we do provide some options for students to choose, which is like the the locations, the accommodation location is just pretty near, just walking distance from the houses to our campus. Okay. So for accommodation part, we have a few different type of rooms for students to choose, and also depending on the budget as well. So we do have like the master bedroom. Okay, we do have like the double bedroom. And we have single bedroom also, because I think most of the people, they also prefer to stay alone, right? Okay, so due to market demands, which is like our partners, which is they own the buildings, so they have like they created more single room for students. So they have 3 different type of single room, like large bedroom, medium bedroom, and small bedroom.
Right. How far is this apartment from the college?
I would say that just 5 minutes walk.
Wow, beautiful.
Yeah, it's very, very near. But of course, like other options, like slightly, it might take about 10 minutes lah, right? Because the location wise is slightly further, but it's still walking distance.
Right.
Okay.
10 minutes is a fair walk, I think.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. So like, okay, next one, this one I just want to share with everybody, because according to our belief, what the design college offers, okay, I have conclude these 5 important points here. Okay. So number 1, exclusive learning experience. Okay. So I always will share with the students, like, because study design, especially we don't really like need students to have a portfolio. Let's say like we talk about pop-up program. So we know that like in small size class, actually can help students to have better interactions with lecturers. And then most of the students, after they graduate from their high school, right, they were pretty shy when sometimes they come to a new environment to study, and then like new people, and then they try to compete with each other. So we try to put the class size become, small size class that type, so that student and the lecturers, they have better interactions lah. So also able to provide student lines of details and also the constructive advices. Okay. And the next one, like practice-based learning. Okay, so practice-based learning, which is like with hands-on projects, right, it able to help students to get better in their chosen field, so that also can guide them on how to work professionally and efficiently. And we always believe that networking opportunity is very, very important for everybody. Okay, not just design industry. Okay, because like let's say a design students, okay, they have a chance to meet the professional during the industry field trips.
Right.
They have the chance to join the trade competitions. Okay, so I believe that this will be the best pre-graduation exposure and experience for students. Yeah. And the next one, like these industry projects and internship. Okay, so like what Dr. mentions just now as well, our students have a lot of chance to involve in industry projects. Okay, so that like plus this internship also. So these two is able to help students to gain the real work experience. Okay, and then like and definitely they will get paid also. And some of the competition they join, they won the prize, they will get the cash money also. So this is one of the I would say that it's an encouragement for students lah, because while they are studying, then they get involved into these different kind of exposure. Okay, and the last point is choose multiple study destinations. Okay, so if, let's say you still remember what Douglas mentioned, like his experience, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So many countries. Okay, so that's why like this is something like I think is one of the good point for students to consider as well, to study in different destinations. Okay, so for example, the student can choose to study local first. Okay, to gain their skills, experience, to brush up their skills, to build their confidence before they go to overseas. Okay, to gain another experience and to gain a greater exposure in other countries. Okay. So in summary, okay, so if let's say like you chosen Raffles as a school for you to kickstart your study journey, you will be able to experience the 5 important points which I mentioned to you just now. Okay, so that's all for my presentations. Okay, thanks for your attention.
Thank you, Miguel. Thank you very much for your brief comprehensive. But I like you mentioned, I really like this when you show the first few slides where you say that the, the
Mm.
the campus of Raffles is not just located in Singapore, Malaysia. You got so many campuses
Yeah.
around, and the transfer opportunity is definitely very very good. And
Yeah.
congratulations on that. It's really very it's good to have to see that you are so established.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Mm.
Okay, you anything that we want to add on? Let me just think. Okay, scholarship. Do
Mm.
you have a
Oh.
scholarship that you offer to students because of, I mean, COVID-19 pandemic? Maybe some parents
Yeah.
are
That's
thinking,
right.
are
That's
you
right.
very difficult to anything that
Yes.
you're offering?
Yes, we do. Okay. So let me share my screen again. Okay, because I'm actually also prepared this one since this is a
Okay.
very important things for students. Okay. So so for Raffles Kuala Lumpur, currently they have two different type of scholarship for not for design program as well as non-design programs. Okay, so for design program, which is you can look at this table. For those who are looking for degree programs, we have these 20% off for students. Okay, and then for those who wanted to start from diploma first, and then we have this merit scholarship, which is it depending how many A's the student obtain from their result. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so one A's the student will get a 2,000 ringgit discount.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and another one is for non-design program. Okay, which is we have this WeCare scholarship. Okay, so we have this scholarship, and same thing is that we provide 20% scholarship for students. Let's say they choose
Right.
a specific Raffles.
Right. Very good. Thanks. That's very helpful.
Mm-mm. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. I think while we are waiting for, there is a question to be asked, but before we answer the questions, I thought we want to show some video. I know that you have prepared some
Mm.
videos for us. Maybe you want to show the video of the fashion design, and
Mm.
then later on, maybe you show a video on the testimony of students. Is it okay, Mingle?
Yeah, sure, no
And then before
problem.
you answer the question of a student, if you have any more
Yeah.
comments, any more questions, please feel free to ask us. They are still here, and
Mm.
let's watch the video first. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Jeffrey.
I'm Andrew Lowe, breakfast fashion designer and winner of Harper's Bazaar New Gen, Singapore and Asia 2018. My collection is inspired by my daydream, and I daydream about the most fantastical fairy tale and the ideal body shape. The silhouette of the collection I interpret through the masculine body shape. As for the fairy tale part, I have incorporated Swarovski crystal fabric and crystal bead into the collection to give an iridescent effect. Harper's Bazaar is a 10-month mentorship under Editor-in-Chief of Harper's Bazaar Canada, Couturier Lai Chan, and with the guidance of Raffles creative practitioner Joe Spinelli. I have learned that creative design and commercial viability is equally important. I am more prepared and confident for the industry as a Raffles fashion designer. Raffles Singapore equips the designer with relevant skill and to be industry ready. If you're interested in fashion design, study at Raffles.
Wow. When the fashion show was up, it suddenly just Douglas was saying, early on, weeks and weeks of hard work, right, for the 15-minute show. But it was very well done, fantastic. Next time when you have that show, remember to ask me to go because I love to watch fashion show.
For sure. Well, right now the show was actually supposed to be in May, and then we actually tried to push it in September. But now the hotels are still not having any bigger parties than 250. So we're hoping that in January we can finally have a really huge show because we have 22 students plus another 10 students, so it's going to be 30 students. But we'll probably do a two show, like almost like a fashion week, like groups of fashion students graduating.
Yeah, very good, very good. Congratulations on that. Okay, we have two questions here. I thought Douglas could help us to answer that because it's so much related to the industry. The first question that is asked by a student: May I know more about how to have a good foundation about being a good fashion designer?
Well, I think it all starts with a good fashion training, fashion education, or like a fashion design course.
Right.
Like I said, Mingle also elaborated, we teach basically even how you start from sewing, how to thread a sewing machine. We even teach you to do that. Because a lot of people, they have, maybe in the past you'd have home economics, the girls can do sewing and all that. But then, for a guy who's probably never sewn in his life, we teach them to, thread the sewing machine, thread the overlocker, and then how to sew a straight line. And then we graduate into sewing a collar, sewing a pocket, sewing pants, sewing skirts, sewing a dress, And actually, one thing that I think, Mingle, you didn't say was that in Raffles, we teach one course in particular that a lot of fashion colleges don't teach, which is fashion draping. Fashion draping is the couture style of making a garment from a piece of fabric, how you manipulate a fabric onto a tailoring dummy. So basically, you're using a piece of fabric and creating, and actually you can even design a garment through draping. So this is something that, we are kind of proud to have at Raffles, because this is something that even when I was in London doing my degree course, it was never taught to me.
Right.
Only when I went to Paris, when I started working in these French studios, and I said, I actually had to really look and learn from, seeing how they do it, because this was never taught in a lot of fashion courses.
Yeah. Probably one of the things that I think I have not heard very much, which you mentioned, Douglas, in one of the things that you are teaching in the syllabus is sustainable fashion.
Yeah.
I think something that people don't see it, about environmental connected to fashion, and you had that in Raffles.
Well, we actually do a very intensive textile module. In the textile module, we teach the student everything related to the different type of yarn, what yarn makes into what kind of fabric, what is woven fabric, what is knitted fabric, down to teaching them how to knit, how to crochet, how to even manipulate fabric and print fabric and things like that. In fact, we are hoping to get some digital printer in the school so that actually the student actually can print their own fabrics and things like that. Because a lot of students for me, I personally don't really like the students going overseas to buy fabric because you need to be resourceful in your own country.
Mm.
You know, I totally don't agree. Like, you know, oh, I have to go to China to get fabric. I have to go to Paris to get fabric. But what's the point? You're not going to buy fabric and make it in Malaysia or in Singapore or whatever, right? So I always believe like one of the good things that I have good relationships with, you know, Batik Malaysia, Kraft Tangan Malaysia, even Songket and all that. They are doing brilliant things. They're making it very, very, you know, wearable. And I would love to see a really good batik designer in Malaysia. Like for me, if I want to buy batik, it's so like old-fashioned. You know, you can't find any modern batik in Malaysia to really wear or trendy. You know, so I would like to see some Chinese designers using batik rather than just the Malay designers using batik. And in fact, the batik Malaysia has said, "Hey, get some Chinese designers to work with us because we want to come into Chinese New Year, not just sell for Hari Raya." You know, So it's interesting that way, you know. But sustainability is something that also sustainable fabric that you can get all the time, not just like you buy in China. No, and also in China, they want 500 meters, 1,000 meters. It's hard for a young designer to afford that. You know. Yeah.
Okay. All right. We have to go on. There are some questions again. Again about money. How much can a fashion designer earn? Is there a lot of opportunity in Malaysia?
To be frank, once you start leaving school, no experience working, anything between 1,000, 6,008 to 2,000. Okay. Once you have 2-3 years, of course, in relation to the size of the company, it goes to like 4,000, 5,000 if you're more senior. If you had like 3 years, 4 years kind of experience, it gets more. And of course, the more experience you are, the more. It also depends on how creative you are, how good you are as a designer. You know? So also, I mean, there's also the other opportunity of maybe starting your own brand. Like a lot of my past graduates and alumni, like I said, after 4-5 years, they sort of know what they want to do and they're fed up working for people. They want to be their own boss. So they create their own fashion line. And creating your own fashion line, it can start small. You can do made to order, bespoke business, boutique business. If you're doing a wedding gown, you're doing a bride, you know, that's good business. Bridal gowns, 5,000, 10,000. Then you do, maybe the wedding gown, then you do the reception gown, then you do the mother of the bride, then you do the bridesmaids, then the sister, don't laugh. This is actually a good business model. A lot of local designers succeed on doing bridals because bridals is to the woman once in a lifetime, so they're willing to spend money.
True.
You know. So
I agree.
But the sad thing is, you know, a lot of local designers get very bad business acumen because, like, if you have H&M, if you have Forever 21, you have Zara opening in any country, even in Singapore. Singapore used to have a very big local designer business. Now what are all the local designers doing? Weddings. Am I right, Mingo? Right? You see, local designers mainly do bridal business. Okay.
Research.
Yeah. No, but the thing is also, like, even in Malaysia, in any country, when I worked in China, when I worked in New York, when I worked, you know, all over Asia, once Uniqlo opened, once H&M opened, once Zara opened, local fashion design suffers. Local designers, because they cannot compete, because like it's fast fashion, it's cheaper. So I always tell designers, you know, don't compete with them. Do better quality, buy better fabrics, do better quality finishing and workmanship, and even don't compete for the 25-year-old, 35-year-old crowd, because 25-year-old, 35-year-old is the trendy, the young go-getter, young career woman who are trendy. You should go for 35, 45 years old. The woman is more powerful, got up the career ladder, has more money to spend, and also they are not in perfect shape. You know, so you kind of don't laugh. You know, plus size business is very good. You know. No, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about, you know, most people after 35, we tend to put something around our waist. You know, the waist gets bigger, so we can't really like want to look good in something from H&M. You know, H&M is like for the young and trendy. You know, it's like fast fashion. You know, so think about it. Like I always tell people, you know, you need to know your market. Okay. You need to know your market. You need to know, who is the customer who has money? 35, 45, 45, 55, they have money. You know, they are managers, they are directors. You know, when you're 25, 35, you just started in the business. Maybe the most you are is a supervisor or assistant manager. Your, you know, disposable income is not that much. Yeah, disposable income is smaller.
Yeah.
So, like you asked me, okay, how much a designer earn? The same thing is in relation. In any career, when you first graduate without experience, you know, you're not earning that much. Okay, in Malaysia it's actually not too bad. Like when I was working in Shanghai, I was appalled at some of the designers who've been working 2-3 years. They were earning, for example, Shanghai is a very expensive city.
Yeah.
To rent a room even is 2,000, 3,000 renminbi. Okay, so some of the designers were earning less than that. I was like, oh my god! When I look at the staff, how much they were earning, my first day of work, the staff lined up to see me about pay and salary. I was like, I just come first day. How am I going to give you more money? You know, if they're earning 1,000 something, even 10%, 20% increment is not going to give you, you know, a big amount right away. So it's a cycle. You know, it's like you need to learn, experience, get the experience, and then the payback is there.
Correct. And I think it's the same as other industry. You know, you start young,
any industry,
senior coordinator, and then you become someone bigger as you go along. Yeah, that's good. Okay, let's go on. Okay. Very good question. What are the differences between fashion style and fashion, or is it style and fashion? I think it's fashion styling and fashion design probably.
Fashion styling is how you say in a magazine, the models. Okay, the models are usually styled. So there's a fashion stylist behind it who's telling the makeup artist what kind of makeup to put, telling the hairstylist what kind of hairstyle they want, and then the fashion stylist itself choosing the clothes to match the accessories, etc., etc. That's a fashion styling. So that's what a fashion stylist does. A fashion designer, we design clothes, we plan collections. So the fashion stylist will actually use the clothes designed by the fashion designer.
Right.
But the fashion stylist is basically, like I said, they can work in magazines, they can work with celebrities. You know, like you see Jennifer Lopez or whatever in the red carpet. She didn't wear the clothes herself. It's a fashion stylist who got whatever gown, who got whatever jewelry, who got whatever hairstyle. The fashion stylist does that. Okay, fashion designer, okay, is the one who's like Versace is supplying the gown for the fashion stylist to give to Jennifer Lopez. So maybe that can clear a bit.
Yeah, that's good. But it continues here saying that, you know, fashion is very subjective. You know, is this very challenging? Is it very challenging to create something that is trendy?
The thing is, like I said, you know, trendy clothes is subjective. What is trendy to a different person? For me, when I was younger, I want to wear the trendiest clothes, whatever is newest, whatever came out from Tom Ford, whatever came out from Gucci, whatever came out newest, I want to buy it. But as you grow older, you tend to grow into your own skin. What is trendy to someone may be something that's not trendy to me. It's like I've worn that before. I worn that in the 80s. So it's like throwback. Okay, so maybe I'm too old. But for me, trend is something that's very subjective to each person's personal taste. But to be a designer who comes up with new trends is, of course, you're an innovator. But like I said again, if something is too trendy, if you put it out in the wrong time, too early or too late, you know, no point. You need to trend right for each market, and that is through experience, you know, through market research, to knowing your own brand, to knowing your own customer. Then you know, okay, to me, this is the trendy collection, and in the trendy collection also I have classics that I sold well in the past season. So it's kind of like a science, but then it's like we have to go into a whole different place, because like the buyer, you work with the buyer will give you all the different categories they want, how many percent they want which is trendy, how many percent they want which is classic, how many percent which is staples. So staples would be like your socks, your underwear, your t-shirts. Okay, your classic would be the brand DNA. What is your brand? Okay, for example, if you look at Polo, Ralph Lauren, their polo shirt, okay, it's a classic, but every season they come out with new colors, new print. Okay, so you have your, in the triangle, for example, maybe top 10% is your trend, is your brand identity or brand newness to bring in the customer. Then in the middle, you have your brand DNA. What is your core branding? What is the thing you sell most? You know? And then at the end, what is the thing that will make you money all the time? The bread and butter.
Right.
You know, so it's also a science. Like, you know, it's not a I just design and hope the customer will buy. If you're a good brand manager, if you're a good buyer, you do a planning. So this is also you learn through working with the brand manager, you look working through with the merchandisers, working with the department stores. You know, they will tell you, hey, I'm having a sale, so plan for the sale. So like you give me all your old products that you put in during the sale. You know, so you must plan for all these things. You see, and then okay, Chinese New Year is coming in 2 months. You know, Chinese New Year collection, for example. You know, you plan all this lah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we will go to the last questions. Thank you for all the questions that you all have been shooting in. Thank you. But this question definitely will be a person that is very brand conscious. Sorry to say that. And then last question: is it possible to work with luxury designers brand like LV, Gucci, Michael Kors, Coach?
If you have the fire burning inside you like I did, yes. Because when I did my fashion course, I never thought I'd be working in Paris or Italy or all that. I come from Jalan Pudu in Kuala Lumpur. Okay? My grandfather had a coffee shop. My parents are middle class. No one was really involved in all these luxury brands. But then when I graduated, I said, hey, I'm going back to Malaysia that does not have so many opportunities. So I went and knocked on doors. I went to Paris, not speaking any French, knock on Chanel. Hey, I want to interview. They tell me to, get out. Forget it. But then when you knock enough and people see your stuff, you have to be persistent. You have to be a bit thick-skinned. Right. So if you're even in the Malaysian, like for me, a lot of my students, like I have enough contacts. For example, if they want to have internship at Walt Disney in Shanghai or Walt Disney in LA, I could help them create a portfolio to maybe show them that, hey, I want to come to the Disney consumer section doing fashion, work there for 1 month as an intern. I can help you make it happen. Okay? So it all depends on how hungry the student is. I always believe, like I said, motivation and passion. If you want it bad enough, do it. If you just say, hey, I just want to be, t-shirt designer, so okay, t-shirt designer, go ahead. But the thing is, if you are a good t-shirt designer, you can make money too, because t-shirts are what we wear every day. See, you are wearing one, I'm wearing one. See, so if you can manage to do a new t-shirt design that people want, hey, on the internet, if you see like on Taobao and everything, on 1111, they sell hundreds of thousands of products in one day. So the internet is a sensation that actually has produced a lot of interesting fashion. Especially in Europe and in America, a lot of designers are only selling online because they cut costs. They don't have brick and mortar, they don't have to pay for rent, all that. And they also work with fashion bloggers. So for example, Kim Kardashian, biggest star, millions of followers. Whatever she endorses, if 1 million people buy that, it's enough. So everything she endorses is at least $50,000 US dollars or $100,000 US dollars. So this is a different way of working. If you're brand conscious, you want to work with LV, you have to have the goods. You're competing with students from the UK, you're still competing students from Italy. You must have the goods to back you up. If you don't have the talent, you don't have the creativity, it's hard for people to say, hey, I want you as an intern, but you must prove it. Your portfolio, your work after you study or after you worked, like some students, even after a few years, they want to do internship overseas. That's great because like you learn first, you gather a portfolio strong, then you apply. And also, actually, a lot of brands are actually be based out of Hong Kong or China. For example, like Coach, for example, is all produced in China. Some of the design studio is actually in China. Because they know the China market's huge. Everyone wants a piece of the pie. So they actually base, even like Uniqlo moved their design office from Tokyo to China. Because they know production, everything in China is cheaper. So they want to be based there so it's faster. So it's a global thing, there's nothing is impossible. I'm actually proof of that. I've worked in so many different countries, but you need to be a bit thick-skinned. You need to be very passionate. And like I say, you have a fire burning up your ass, go for it. You must be really, really motivated. I mean, it's not easy. I mean, going to a country not speaking a language.
Yeah.
When I first arrived in Italy, I suffered because I can't speak the language. When I first arrived in France, I suffered, can't speak the language. Even Shanghai, I'm not a Mandarin speaker, but luckily, I had a really good assistant, translated everything for me. So it works. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Douglas, for
Not at
your
all. My
very
pleasure.
for your detailed explanation. So I hope those questions that I've answered, students, you have got those and you understand, you remember it, and don't forget to come to Raffles when you're done with your Form 5 or whatever level you're in right now. Okay, Mingle and Douglas, thank you for your time. We
Thank
passed our
you.
5 o'clock,
Thank you.
but I think it's been an interesting afternoon with you all, both of you.
Yeah,
I hope
same
to
here.
see you all
Mhm.
real life, real time one day. Not
Yeah.
because of this COVID.
Come and visit the campus in
Yeah,
KL.
yeah. In fact, I'm making an arrangement. Hopefully, in 2 weeks' time, we are going to visit Raffles KL. My team will come, so hopefully, I'll say hi to you, Douglas, over there. Yeah,
Good. Look forward to
Mingo,
it.
see you when you're back. Once they can travel, hope to see you back in Malaysia soon.
It's the
Yeah.
first time I meet Mingo as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, first time. Because she's in Singapore. I'm in KL.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. But yeah, she's trapped. She could have come back, but unfortunately, never
Yes,
mind.
yes.
Hopefully next week we heard good news from the government. They may open up the border. Singapore,
Yeah, I
Malaysia.
hope so.
No, I'm wanting all my foreign students to come back because they are also stuck.
Yeah.
Our term has started. Some are still stuck there. And then my next term is starting. So hopefully, everything is back to normal. Because right now also we're conducting online, but it's always better to be face to face because
Yeah.
especially fashion, everything is tactile, everything is it's practical and showing. That online you lose a lot of the human side of the course lah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. There's a comment. A very interesting perspective from Mr. Douglas. So a client commented on your presentation, Douglas. Very well.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. So I'll see you again, and
Yeah.
thank you everyone for
Thank you.
joining us for the weekend.
Yep,
Hope
thank
that
you.
you have a good weekend. You too, Douglas, Mingle. Have a good time.
Thank you.
And I'll see you again. Thank you. Don't forget to continue to join us in our Turning Point series. Don't forget to join us again in Global Reach. Okay, we're gonna bring you another perspective on Global Reach next week. Stay tuned, like our Facebook, share our Facebook, and we will meet you again. Thank you. We'll aim with a video from Raffles. And to sign off, I'm Jeffrey. Thank you, Mingle, Douglas. Bye.
Bye.
Hold me close and let me stay until the sunrise. Just say you'll hold me forever, at least for tonight. It's been so long since I got so close to someone. I know this ain't love, but let me stay a while. And pull me closer tonight, keep holding my hand. I know this ain't love, but let me stay the night. I said let me stay a while. 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 I said let me stay a No, no, I don't need a degree to know this ain't love at first sight.